Hey there, I'm Adam Jen, and I'm going over James Gunn Superman film. This video will have minor to mid-level spoilers, so if you haven't seen the film and want to, then click off, you've been warned. So, if you're still here, then let's go. The main plot of the film is that Superman loses for the first time ever to the Hammer of Baravia. All of this is due to Supes getting involved with the country named Jar-Hanpur that is being invaded by Baravia. Baravia is receiving $80 billion worth of weapons from Luthor Corp, not Lex Corp. The Fortress of Solitude is discovered and invaded by Lex. Lex with his two metahuman lackeys hack into the Fortress's system and steal Kal-El/Superman's parents' dying message. The dying message was damaged prior to theft, but with 28 linguistic experts and advanced computer engineering, the second half of the dying message was magically translated. The translations revealed that Superman is to conquer Earth and restore Krypton. So the film rips off of Invincible and Dragon Ball Z. All this leads to the people turning on Superman and thinking that he is a menace. A menace, I tell ya! So, the premise alone, there's a lot of plot issues, but before that, isn't it funny that Hollywood approved of this storyline? Luthor Corp, an American company, funds and aids Baravia to invade Jar-Hanpur. This plotline is immensely similar, almost identical, to the real-life situation with the U.S. aiding Israel in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It gets even funnier since some folks have some idea of who Hollywood and the mainstream media bends the knee to. So I wonder how James Gunn got away with this one. I guess we'll never know. So back to the plot. It's a bake your cake and wanting to eat it too kind of situation. The film wants to be an uplifting, happy superhero escapism film, but tries to add modern media, political topics, and issues like the dead internet theory. Superman, like majority of superheroes, normally doesn't associate themselves with modern Western politics. But for the sake of plot, The film's story is an oversaturated, poorly paced mess. An example of the poor pacing is the Baravia storyline. One of the film's main storylines got shafted for a newer, bigger, and shinier storyline to elevate the stakes. It's a superhero movie trope number 57. Speaking of, there's just way too many characters. In this 2-hour and 10-minute film, you have Superman, Lex, Lois, Jimmy, Superman's parents, John and Martha Kent, Krypto, Lex sidekicks, Ultraman and the Engineer, the TikToker GF of Lex, Eve, the leader of Baravia, the Justice Gang consisting of Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, and Hawkgirl. That's 14 characters, and there's at least 2 other notable named characters and a couple of side characters that the film wants you to care about. Obviously, numerous characters were irrelevant, and the attempts to make them feel cool or important felt hollow. There was about 1 or 2 characters who didn't feel like idiots in this film, and one of them was Mr. Terrific. So either James Gunn was a huge fan of Mr. Terrific in Justice League Unlimited, or Hollywood wanted that agenda to run wild through Mr. Terrific. I kid you not, Mr. Terrific is the one guy who was kind of cool, had some masculine tendencies, and was getting stuff done. Honestly, James Gunn should have just made a Mr. Terrific film. Mr. Terrific is an underappreciated hero in DC Comics, I get that. But James Gunn didn't need to devalue Superman just to elevate Mr. Terrific. There's a world where both heroes could have been cool. The only other competent character in this film was the Engineer, aka the agenda push girl boss. Hey, at least James Gunn made her a villain, not a hero. So, the Engineer was broken as crap in this film. The amount of stuff she does with her nanites makes you wonder why Lex didn't create not just an army, but 3 of these nanite-buffed metahumans. 3 of them would have beaten Superman and ended the film. It's like, geez, I wonder how those nanites were just so OP.
Nanomachine, son.
Alright, well, to be fair to James Gunn, Jimmy Olsen was actually good in this film and was amusing. Also, Hollywood didn't gingercide and race swapped them. Gingers, you're safe! For once. Alright, enough positivity. Let's talk about Superman. The most common debate about this Superman film is that Superman isn't stoic enough, or the other side saying that he's an emotional, hopeful-driven character. Both sides are right and wrong at the same time. The main issue is that neither side truly understand who the Man of Steel is, and neither did James Gunn. They have a piece, but not the whole pie. Superman is a confident, intelligent, strong, masculine man that symbolizes the best of the hopeful aspects of humanity. Famous Superman taglines like "It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman" or Truth, Justice, and the American Way easily describes who the Man of Steel truly is. Despite being from another planet, Superman is an inspiration for everyone to strive on being the best versions of themselves. To be humble individuals, regardless of status of wealth, strength, or fame. Superman believes in the good of mankind. Even if someone is at the bottom of the abyss, Superman will be there to remind them that there is light at the end of the tunnel. The light that Superman gives off is almost akin to a messiah figure who knows what to do and can save the day no matter what. That said messiah figure is solidified in the minds of the people within the DC universe due to his immense strength, capabilities, and moral empathy. James Gunn Superman does have some positives. Gunn Superman is brighter, smiles a lot more, is way more approachable, and focuses on saving everyone. Superman in the film's subtitle set him up as the strongest metahuman on Earth. Side note, I don't really know if the comics really classified him as a metahuman. Maybe they did because the comics always retcon every 3 to 5 years. I don't know. As Clark Kent, he comes off as a less confident but lovable dork that in no way can be the Man of Steel. So, with those aspects, Gunn did a good job of Superman. Thumbs up. However, everything else about Superman in this film left me disappointed. Superman, who is nearly or 30 years old, comes off acting half his age. There's no masculinity. He is indecisive and acts like an emotional child when the situation needs for him to act like a man. One scene that made me say he acts like a kid was him getting mad off a social media post that referred to him as super shit. It's dumb stuff high schoolers care about, kind of like them caring about having the coolest clothes and the newest iPhone. It's childish, and it wouldn't be a problem if Clark was Superboy, but no, he's Superman. I got a few more scenes off the dome of Superman acting like a beta male, but I don't want to spoil it. Actually, no, I will spoil one. Superman cries in this film. Now you think, man, something serious must have happened, or someone important to Superman must have died to make the big blue Boy Scout shed some tears. But no, his parents didn't die, Lois didn't die, Krypto didn't die, not even Jimmy died. The person who died was some random Indian civilian guy that Superman saved, and Supes cried like a beta simp loser cuck bitch. It's funny. In a way, my friend who I watched the film with was from Bengali, and when he saw this scene, he laughed. He laughed and said, "Oh no, my Indian uncle died, bro." We all know who this scene was catered to, and it failed. Plus, it made the star of the movie look pathetic. If Superman was pissed at Lex or acted like he had any ounce of testosterone in his body, this scene could have been good because it elevated the character we were supposed to care about. The next big issue with Superman in this film is that James Gunn made Superman, the strongest metahuman on Earth, look like a jobber. The first 10 minutes of the film perfectly symbolizes the issues with Superman. In fights, dialogue exchanges, and conflict resolutions, Superman comes off as weak. James Gunn tries to counteract this by having some "wow, here's a cool Superman" moment. But it's pointless because the next scene has Superman look like an absolute weakling. Now I know the straw man fan argument that has been said for countless years is that a story about Superman being invincible is boring. Superman being too strong means there is no conflict. This is an ignorant and disingenuous take about Superman. No one is saying Superman must be invincible. The lack of conflict was never an issue in the Christopher Reeve Superman films, Superman the Animated Series, the Justice League cartoons, the Superman animated films, the comics, Smallville, and Zack Snyder's DC films. Snyder's Superman damaged the Man of Steel's character, and I agree that Zack Snyder's interpretation should be heavily criticized. However, there are aspects of Snyder's Superman that were pretty good. Superman felt strong, cool, masculine, important, and larger than life. Superman felt like someone the world centered around and made me interested in Snyder's DC universe. Yes, Snyder's Superman was canceled. However, I remember watching Black Adam in theaters, and Henry Cavill at the end came in and got the largest pop of the entire film. I remember people being excited to see a potential Superman versus Black Adam film. I also remembered a lot of people being upset that Snyder's Superman was replaced. Snyder's Superman was very flawed and flopped, but he had aspects that Gunn's Superman lacked. I won't deep dive into Lex Luthor like I did Superman, but Jesus, we're never going to get a properly adapted Lex Luthor. It's been over 20 years since Justice League Unlimited ended, and nearly 20 years since the last good DC animated film happened. Lex Luthor in Superman 2025 acts like a Fortnite streamer raging about losing. Fortnite Lex does not come off as smart, charming, masculine, or cunning. The film tries to make him look smart, but he comes off like a cheap Saturday morning cartoon villain that will never be seen ever again. Oh yeah, like Superman, Lex Luthor cries in this film. Dude, I swear to God, we can never have any iconic character who used to be the peak of masculinity be masculine anymore. Look, I get it. James Gunn's Lex Luthor is better than Zack Snyder's Luthor. That is no debate. But, my brothers in heaven and earth, Snyder's Lex was like the worst, the bottom of the barrel and the darkest spot in the abyss level lows. So, I guess I gotta have to wait another 20 years and to see if modern media can actually get Lex Luthor right. My hope is extremely low. So, should you watch Superman 2025? Answer is hell no. Look, if you've seen a bunch of superhero films, then you've already seen this one. This film isn't horrible. It isn't great or good either. It's just fine. It's mid. It's, I guess, somewhat acceptable to a degree. But listen, it's like you're not seeing anything that's new. You're not seeing anything that changes the game or the formula. It's just the same old, same old. So that's pretty much it for the review. Now, if you can do all the things that the Ytuber, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, manipulation of the context of information AI system likes, such as liking, commenting, sharing, and liking the bell icon, I'd greatly appreciate it. Well, until then, have a great day. Bye. Okay, yeah, so I lied, I wasn't done. Look, I know the video was mainly negative and pretty much crapped over the film, and I understand that people will probably label me as a hater and that I'm just being overly negative. However, I want to try to see if I can prove them wrong, and by doing that, I plan on trying to drop a Superman 2025 rewrite. This rewrite will be an original story that I'm writing and I'm going to make a video on YouTube about, and hopefully this will show people what I think Superman should have been and see if anyone from the small crowd of people watching this vid will like it. So that's the end this time. Thanks, everyone have a great day and peace.